Alright guys, so I've hit a crossroads and I couldn't figure out what to review for today's video. So instead I just decided to ask you guys what I should do, and to absolutely no surprise, you guys didn't have an answer either. So now I've taken things into my own hands and figured out the ultimate solution.
Alright guys, so due to all the discourse surrounding what I should be reviewing for today's video, I've decided to instead just flip a coin to decide what we are going to do for today. So if it lands on tails, it is going to be the new Smino album. If it lands on heads, it is going to be the new West Side Gun album. Alright, let's do this. Fuck out of here, I ain't listening to y'all niggas.
Yeah, so as you can see, I only make the most fairest of decisions. So yeah, for today's video, I'm going to be talking about the singing and rapping star Smino and his latest album, Love for Rent, being filled with wonderful vocals and some quick fire bars to make for a pretty fun album, for the majority at least. Alright, so when going through this project, I'll say I'm impressed, but I'm more impressed for reasons that I didn't expect. I mean, in terms of lyrical substance, there isn't too much from this project that really drags me in, but at the same time, Smino is able to bring very smooth and echoing vocals that can really allow for some of these tracks to stand out, such as Defibrillator and Curtains. Like, if anything, I'd say he's like if Jid made an R&B album, or maybe if Normani made a hip-hop album? I don't know, but it's somewhere around that range. But yeah, this album's biggest high note has to be Smino's singing, with his vocal range really standing out, going from high pitch for the chorus to these quick fire verses to slap in between, making it seem like he's a feature to his own music. And he brings the right energy to a lot of these tracks, really being able to adapt to each and every beat, and utilizing his vocals to work as background noise, such as on the track Settle Down that I also did enjoy. And his ability to cook up a fun chorus is also something to be acknowledged, making something catchy and quick for just about anyone to get into. But I guess when holding up to other projects that came out this year, this wouldn't really sit at the top of the totem pole for me, mainly because I feel like there are some tracks that stretch out a bit longer than they have to, such as Curtains and Mode in a Minute. And some of these tracks also do feel a bit formulaic in style, relying heavily on those 808s to try and bring some flair, but instead feeling more like when listening to it after a while. But as for the production, it definitely had some fun aspects to it, but at the same time, as I said before, I feel like the 808s felt too much like the appealing factor for some of these beats, seeming like it overshadows the other aspects that some of these songs would bring. But for what it's worth, there are some nice beat switches, such as on the tracks No L's and Pro Freak, that I definitely did enjoy, especially with the later going from this funky and fast-paced beat that seems very Outkast inspired, utilizing 808s, guitar strings, and clapping to make this groovy vibe that I can really connect to and Smino can really capitalize on. But then once that beat switch comes in, we slow it all the way down, really getting heavy with the bass and more melodic sound for these layered bars to roll in and make one of, if not my favorite song from this album. But then on the other end, you have tracks like Old Ass Kendrick that kind of piggybacks off the vibe of Pro Freak, but instead falls somewhat short in execution in my opinion. And no, it's not because I thought there'd be a secret Kendrick feature slid in somewhere, but mainly because the track just feels a bit forgettable alongside a beat that just doesn't stand out to me personally. And then you got tracks like Euphoria that just drags out the repetition with its guitar and 808s that once again feels like it's trying to piggyback, but instead just gets more annoying the more you listen to it. But for what it's worth, at least Smino was able to work in his own flavor into each of these beats, alongside some vocal mixing to make them not sound like complete duds. But then there's the features that for the most part were a hit, with big names such as J. Cole, Lil Uzi, and the rising rapper Doechii, with Doechii being a major standout for me on the track Pro Freak, really knocking it out of the park with these quick fire bars and smooth verse that makes me contemplate if she even breathed throughout the entire segment. But don't get me wrong, the J. Cole feature was also a banger on 90 Proof. I guess I'm just not surprised because Cole's features for these past couple of years have always been great, but we also had Lucky Day on Mode in a Minute and Raven Lene on Settle Down, also being standouts for me, vocalizing and balancing wonderfully with Smino to make for some wonderful melodic tracks that I feel like you guys would also enjoy. But the only questionable feature from this album for me would have to be Uzi on Pudgy, kind of seeming a bit phoned in, although it was a bit nice to hear, especially on such a non-Uzi beat. I just wish it didn't sound like it was recorded 10 feet away from a can on the string. But overall, Smino did his thing on this one. Was it perfect? Nah, every album has its flaws, but at the same time it had some bangers and amazing features that made this an honorable mention for top 10 album of the year. So to put this on a scale, I'm giving this a high 7 out of 10, being a refreshing sound for the more surface level hip hop fans. But how do you guys feel about Smino's latest album? What would you rate it? Let me know down in the comments, so like and subscribe, and follow my IG and Twitter, and follow the artist as well if you like the illustrations. And on that note, I'll see you on Monday when I force you guys to give me back my 30 cents I lost in the trash. Peace. Alright guys, Real Life Wallows here. I just wanted to let you know that if you did not find that one segment funny, I will find you and bury you in the same trash can that I had to dig out of 4 times just to make that one comedic segment. So yeah, thank you for watching. Back to the video.
Hi everyone, I'm Iluma. Come on, Bernie. Come on. Okay. Bernie.